Hello students, I would like to make a video in which I explain in some detail what I mean by academic referencing, because I think that it's very new to you. It's not something that you've encountered before unless you went to, I don't know, some really fancy school. I certainly had never encountered academic referencing until I went to university. So I think maybe sometimes we lecturers, because we've just been around these systems for so long, we expect you to just understand. And I think that I've made a mistake in this regard, and so I just want to create a short, informative video which gets you going. Obviously there's a lot to academic referencing, but not really. Academic referencing is very formulaic. So it means that once you know the formula and you know where to find the information to plug into the formula, then you can get it right every time. Okay, so let's begin together and let's get this done, because it'll just help you with the rest of your academic career, in which every single assignment is referenced correctly. Okay, so this is the last you're going to see of me. Now you're just going to hear my lovely voice, and let's begin our little slide presentation. Here we are. There you have a nice little picture about referencing, but let's get going properly. We live in a world of text, and we are free to read whatever we want. By text, I don't just mean books. Now, this is important. Obviously in our English course we focus predominantly on books, but we are bombarded, especially in 2019, with text from every angle. So I've given you a list here, but it is by no means exhaustive. There are plenty of other things you can add to it. So articles, wall graffiti, Instagram posts, tweets, Facebook posts, conversations, lectures, Kim Kardashian gifts, films and short online videos, just like we watch at the beginning of lectures, are all texts. Okay, when someone publishes something, and by publishes I don't mean publishes through a publishing company. When you press submit or tweet or post, you are publishing something. You are giving that to the world to read. It is text, it is out there, it is available, anyone can read it. However, importantly, it retains your name. Even Twitter posts, they come with your name alongside them, because authorship is important. Words need to remain connected to whoever said them initially. And we are welcome to have conversations with people who are producing text all the time. We are welcome to include the work of others in our own work. But in order to be ethical, we need to tell our readers where we got our information. We cannot pretend that something we read is something we ourselves have said. And there are various ways in which we signal to our reader that I am being honest here. I have taken something from somewhere, and as long as you cite it, as long as you reference it, there is absolutely nothing wrong with what you're doing. In fact, you're doing the right thing. You're having a conversation. Alright, let's quote from a book. Alright, and what we're looking at the moment is We Need New Names by Novailit Bulawayo. Alright, and this is the final page in the chapter that I asked you to read, and it's the portion of the novel where the little children find a woman hanging from a tree. And if you read closely, you discover that the woman hanging from the tree is the same woman who took photos of them earlier on in the day. And Bastard decides that they should sell her shoes for bread. Okay, so let's say you're writing an essay on We Need New Names. Your topic is the ways in which Bulawayo shows that hunger undermines the children's compassion. So because they're hungry, they have less capacity to imagine how others feel. They have less capacity to feel the pain of others or to worry about others. Their hunger makes them, in many ways, quite selfish. But obviously this is quite understandable. So, you may read this page here, which describes the children deciding to sell the dead woman's shoes to buy bread. Okay, here it is. And remember, you can never just lift words from the text and leave them on their own. You need to write in your own voice and use words from the text to support your own point. Alright, so you can take this, you can read it, and you can decide which section proves your point. So I'm just going to give you a small little example. Obviously in an essay that you write you'll be quoting more extensively, but here is something you may write. The narrator, Darling, reports that once they have made the decision to sell the shoes, the children were, quote, running and laughing and laughing and laughing. Now importantly, I have quoted from this text, okay, and I signal this to my reader by putting a quotation mark at the beginning and at the end of the quoted material. Now, quotation marks are like a promise. Quotation marks signal to your reader that you are lifting the words as they appear in the original and that you are doing so faithfully. So you are not allowed to change anything in this little section. Alright, so you lift text, you signal it with quotation marks, and then ever so importantly, you need an in-text citation. You open your brackets, you write the author's surname, which in this case is Bulawayo, comma, space, the date of publication, which is 2013, comma, space, P dot, which stands for page, space, 17, because that's, you can see over here, that's the page number, so that's what I'm putting there, close brackets, and now the full stop to your sentence goes after the in-text citation. Don't worry, even though it seems complicated, you will get so used to doing this that it will become second nature to you. Alright, in-text referencing for a book. Let's go a little deeper into this idea. Let's take the sentence, now remember from the very first page, Darling says, "We didn't eat this morning and my stomach feels like somebody just took a shovel and dug everything out." And let's incorporate this quotation into a sentence of our own. Alright? So here's my first try. "We didn't eat this morning and my stomach feels like somebody just took a shovel and dug everything out." Now, it's looking good, you know? I've lifted the text, I haven't changed anything, I've put the quotation at the beginning and at the end, and here is my in-text citation with my full stop at the end. So far so good. The only problem with this though, because it is incorrect, is that I just quoted. I didn't incorporate this or make it part of a sentence of my own. And the way you do that is you add a little something at the beginning. So let's try again. Darling states that we didn't eat this morning and my stomach feels, and so on. Alright? Now here we're getting better. What we've done is if we've introduced something at the beginning, but even though this is quoted material, it still makes sense. Alright, even we have to pretend that the quotation mark is not there and it needs to make sense. So Darling states that we didn't eat this morning, and that's fine. However, let's go back. Now remember, we're pretending that the quotation mark isn't there. Darling states that we, with a capital W. Now, the sentence needs to read like a normal one, and you don't just randomly put capital letters in the middle of nowhere. So this is unfortunately still incorrect. Let me show you how we incorporate quotations into sentences of our own. Darling states that, now have a look here, we didn't eat this morning. What I've done here is I've taken the capital letter and I've made it a smaller letter. But remember, our quotation marks are a promise to our reader. They're a promise that we will not change what we put inside this, that it reflects what is in the original absolutely accurately. And the way that we sort of slightly break or bend that promise is that we signal to the reader that we have made a change. And we do that by inserting what we change into square brackets. So, Darling states that we didn't eat this morning. And that, my friends, is correct. Alright, it makes perfect sense. However, There is a way to make it even better, but it's slightly more complicated. If you feel that this is as far as you can go for now, that's fine. But if you want to aim for a distinction, let's go a little further. Now, importantly, you are here. You are addressing your reader. Darling states that. You're telling your reader something. And remember, as we stated in class, your reader has not read the text. This is what you need to pretend. So you can use reporting language to report to them what the text says. And in order to do that, sometimes you just need to add a bit more detail that the text itself doesn't necessarily offer. So Darling states that the children, now that's more specific. We is perhaps not clear to the reader. But now, because we've written the children, we need to write square brackets. Alright? The children didn't eat that morning. This morning, that morning. Okay? Because obviously this morning refers to a very specific morning, and you're using reporting language. So you're telling a reader about something that isn't right here, right now. Okay? Eat that morning. And her stomach, because it's Darling states that. So we're speaking about somebody else. So it's not my stomach. Alright? Darling states that her stomach feels like somebody took a shovel and dug everything out. And then we have our in-text citation and a full stop. And this is absolutely right, and if I see that you're doing this, I will be extremely impressed with you. Alright, now we get to the bibliography for a book. This can be the slightly more challenging bit, but once you know the formula and how to get the information to fill into the formula, you're golden. Okay, so let's go over the formula again. For an APA reference, you need to fill in the following formula. APA is just the kind of referencing that we're using at UJ, okay? So what you need is the author surname, comma, space. Now you'll notice I'm speaking out the punctuation, and that is important because actually punctuation plays an enormously important role in referencing. Okay, so author surname, comma, space, author initials. I put an S there because they may have 1, they may have 2, they may have 5. Full stop, space, open brackets, date, close brackets, full stop, space, title of the book in italics, obviously capitalized because it's a title, full stop, place of publication, and publisher. Now, we can get some of this information from the cover, but we need to look for the rest elsewhere. So what information can we get from the cover? We can get the title, so there we go, and we can get the author's surname and author initial. So the surname is Bulawayo, initial Noviolet. Oh, sorry, not Noviolet, that's her whole name. Her initial is the first letter, okay, so N. Alright, now this is where we look to find the rest of the information. This is a page that you may never have read before, but you've always seen it when you've opened a book. It's near the front. So here's our formula again. Author surname, author initials, date, title, place of publication, and publisher. What we have so far, what we got from the cover page, or not the cover page, sorry, the cover page, is Bulawayo, comma, N. Alright, now we still need the date. We have the title, we need new names. We still need the place of publication and the publisher. And this lovely page is where we're going to find all of our missing information. Let's have a look. We need the date. There it is, right at the top. Published by Vintage 2014. Okay? And that's what we'll have. Obviously, the version I used earlier was 2013, but this is a new version. Okay, so 2014, you use the date of the copy that you have, and obviously a book is published more than one time, and it might be published, I don't know, over a space of 50 years, but the date at the top will be the date of the copy that you have. Alright, and now we need a place of publication. There it is, London Town. Alright, so here's Vintage, the publisher, and here is their address. Now, you don't need all of that information, you only need the name of the town. So it's London. Alright, and finally, the name of the publisher themselves, and it is Vintage. Okay, so Here we have our full, beautiful bibliographic reference, Bulawayo, comma, N, space, 2014, full stop, space. We need new names in italics, full stop, space, London, colon, space, vintage, full stop. Remember, every single reference needs to end with full stop. Let's try a journal article. Okay. On Google Scholar, which I hope you're all using, you can find numerous articles on a particular topic. To create a bibliographic reference for these academic articles, look at me making errors in my lecture. APA referencing has a formula that is slightly different, and here it is. Okay, so it's similar, but let's have a look at the differences. Author surname, author initial, full stop, or initials if there's more, date, title. Now here we have our first difference. The title is not in italics, alright, full stop. Now the title of the journal is in italics. You'll see what that means, full stop. Volume number and no space, interestingly. This is unusual, but this is convention. Open brackets, issue number, close brackets, comma, page range, full stop. Okay, so let me show you what